Decided to do, instead of not make you sit through a whole 2-hour review again, I've decided to break them up into smaller bite-sized pieces. I know some of you have signed up for the entire day, some for half the day, some for 3/5 of the day. Whatever you did, that's fine. It's just a little bit easier to take it in smaller pieces, and if you need something, you can sit here and watch it for 45 minutes, take a break, come back, do whatever you need to do. It seems to work out fairly well that way. So for those of you that remember me from a couple of months ago, I'm Jay. Remember me, I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm the Senior National Trainer for CoreLogic. We all know that Matrix is coming. The feel-good date is the end of January. I've just been told by the folks outside, so we'll look for that on your calendars. And for those of you that were here a couple of months ago, remember Matrix is very fast. You remember seeing that hopefully when we were here last time, and you'll see that today. And hopefully after you leave here today, you'll just kind of reinforce the fact that yes, it is easy to use. And those are the two attributes of Matrix that make it the most popular MLS system in the country. Also, as you may remember, if you were here a couple of months ago, Matrix is cross-browser compatible. It works on all the browsers that are out there. It works on all the devices, laptops, desktops, tablets, phablets, phones. It works on all those devices. And one browser that I need to add on to the bottom there, which I haven't yet, is the new Edge browser from Microsoft. If you've upgraded to Windows 10, that has a new browser in it. And that browser also works with the Matrix system as expected. So again, no restrictions to mobility. And again, remember that if you go to Matrix on a smartphone, you see the mobile version. If you're on a tablet or larger, you see the full version, which you're going to see today. Mobile version doesn't give you all the functionality as expected. That's why it's called mobile. We can't fit everything onto a small screen like an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy. All those are getting a lot bigger these days. But you should not have any restrictions at all with mobility. And just in case you forgot what you're here to see today, this is our schedule for today. We've got the basic search, kind of like search, print, email today from 9 to 9:45, giving you just the basics of how to do the simple stuff that we do every day. We then have a CMA class after that at 10:15. There's a 30-minute break in between. We'll cover a quick CMA. We'll cover a comprehensive CMA. Then we'll take a little bit of a break for lunch, or at least I will. And then we'll come back and talk about contacts and the client portal and how to share your listings in that new portal. Then we'll go into RealList, which is going to be the new tax provider that's going to be integrated with Matrix, which, by the way, not only are you getting, so is Chesapeake Bay, and Richmond is actually losing the IMAP program they've had for years and moving over to RealList, so they're going through some conversion pain also. And then finally, at the end of the day, at 2:30 today, we're going to do a quick overview on listing input. If that applies to you, that you may want to go ahead and stick around for that or come back to that. This class schedule will be repeated tomorrow identically, the same times, the same subject matter, in the same order. So maybe you have an appointment this afternoon and you really wanted to see RealList and it's not going to work. You can always come back tomorrow at 1 o'clock and see the same thing if you'd like to do that. So that's kind of a little schedule. It's the same thing that's up online. I just thought I would refresh you here just in case you wondering why you're here, what you're seeing, or what's going on today. So without further ado, let's go back and hop into Matrix. Now, Sue told me just before she walked out the door that she's going to be printing up a couple of little pieces of paper. She's going to try to utilize the tree killing ability, and she's going to print out the URL and the credentialing you need to use to get into Matrix, and she'll hand those out at the end of the session today so you can get it and start kicking the tires and looking around a little bit. She's also provided for me, and don't let me forget to give these to you at the end of the session today. This is kind of a Where's Waldo document on how things have changed and how Matrix does things and how they used to be done and Flex, and just kind of those Flex call them private reports. Matrix calls them the agent long and agent short. Flex calls them public reports. Matrix calls them the customer long, and customer short reports. So this will be a nice little cheat sheet if you're wondering how it was done or what it was called before and how it's done or what it is called now in Matrix. Please do not let me forget to hand these out.
Could we have them now?
If I hand them out now, you're going to look at them and not look at me. So that's why she said don't hand them out now. So I'm just going by the kind of little paper there. So I'll get them to you. I promise I won't forget them. So I'll try to promise I won't forget them. So when you log into the Matrix system, real quick, this is the front page that you're going to see. We're going to get into searching and printing and emailing very quickly. But this is your front page or your home page that you see when you log in. You will see some tabs across the top on my screen that you're not going to see on your screen right now. So don't take a mental picture and think that you're going to see exactly what I see. I have the ability now to look at the realist tax system, which you won't see until the conversion. So don't be looking for that tab. I also have the ability to do input now, which you're not going to be able to do until conversion if you have the permission to do that. So again, don't focus on, I'm not seeing that when I log in. And I also have an admin tab that applies to the people that work in this office or in Richmond or in Chesapeake Bay. Those are the administrative functions that the people in this building can do underneath the hood. You will not see that tab. Don't confuse that tab if you're an admin person. That has nothing to do with you. That's just the MLS and association level administrative functions that are there. But everything else you'll see. The gadgets, if you remember on the front page, if you can move them around. So just a quick little review here. All these gadgets can be moved around. So when you log in and start kicking the tires, you can rearrange these and put them in whatever order you want to best fit your view when you log in. So, that's a little bit of an action item for you. If you want to kind of arrange your screen, please feel free to do that. If a gadget takes up too much space, you can always minimize it, like closing a desk drawer and open it up. So, again, just a little bit of fun that you can have if you want to initially to try to get things where you want them to be. Now, as far as some basic searches go, a lot of us do things like MLS number searches. We do address searches. That's a pretty popular function in the system. We'll get a number, we want to look it up. We'll get an address, we'll want to look it up. You can do all of that right from this screen. It's not really obvious on where you can do that though, but it will be, because if you think about programs like this is Google, right? Most of us have used Google at some time or another, or some other search program. A Google search is a text box and a button. You type in a question, you hit enter, you get an answer, right? It's very easy. Now, some of you may have figured out already that you can actually speak into your laptop and also not have to worry about typing. My kids are very familiar with that function. So in Matrix, there's a little bar right across the top of the screen, right below the tabs, which kind of looks like a little Google search bar. That's where you can ask questions of Matrix, like, what MLS number is associated to a property? So how would I do that? I would go ahead and type in the MLS number that I would like to find the property that's listed under it. So just type in a number in a little search box, just like if I were to use it here. You're doing the same thing basically, but I'm doing it in Matrix. So I type in the number, and yes, if I have more than one number, I separate them with a comma, okay? And then all I have to do is hit enter, and I can see that property. So what I just did is an MLS number search using that little Google-like text box right on top of the page. That was easy. That little box is there wherever you go. No matter what tab you're in, you'll always see that little box. That little box is very, very handy if you're using a tablet or a smartphone to use Matrix with. Because remember what I said, Matrix looks exactly like this on a tablet, a laptop, or a desktop. So think about it. If you have a tablet, you could log into Matrix, take your finger, tap it in that text box, your keyboard pops up on your tablet, and you start typing in that number. That's pretty easy. Or if you have a smartphone and you log onto Matrix, on the mobile version of Matrix, that little bar or that little text box is also on the mobile version. You would tap in that little bar, your keyboard would come up, you would type in the MLS number, hit enter, and you would view the property. So it works very good on mobile devices, just like it will do here on my laptop computer. Now, can I also do an address search from there? Sure, of course you can. You can come in here and type in an address. I'm going to type in an address, and I'm going to use one that I happened to use yesterday, 2918 Belmont. Don't worry about putting the suffix at the end. Sometimes you don't want to put too much information in. So 2918 Belmont, hit enter, and there I see the property at 2918 Belmont. The thing, though, that I've noticed when I did that is not only did I see the current property that is active, but I also saw the history of the property. That property has been expired 3 times and it's been closed or sold 3 times. Look at all the different MLS numbers right there. So think about how candy that's going to be. You get a sign call from a client, and they say, "Hey, look, Jay, I'm looking at this property at 2918 Belmont." You come into Matrix, you type the address in that little address bar, you hit enter, and you say, "Yes, I see that's a property that's currently active." And at the same time, you can actually go back and kind of look back at the lineage or the history of that property. Of course, you may not want to tell them everything you're seeing, but you could clearly go back and look at that. So those are 2 things that make life really easy as far as searching goes with numbers or with addresses.
Okay.
Yes.
You click on the MLS number. Will that give me the full? Okay.
There you go. Good thing. Keep remember, what you click is what you get. Okay, and that was a perfect example. So the question was, if I click on the MLS number, do I get the full report? What you click is what you get. When you go to a picture, you want to see the pictures, what you click is what you get. So it's pretty intuitive. Don't be afraid to click on something. You can't break it. You just kind of explore and see what's there.
Is there a days on market?
There is a days on market. If you go way over to the right-hand side of the screen, there's a column. And the reason I had to scroll over is because my laptop and this big Jumbotron don't sync up as far as resolution go. So normally, if I were to unplug from there, I would not have to do any scrolling on a laptop or a desktop or a tablet because it sizes it to fit, okay? So I know open houses may or may not be that popular in this area, but just in case you may think you want to look at an open house at some point in time, this little bar also gives you the capability to do that. These are all little shortcuts that I'm telling you. So let's say you were just curious about, are there any open houses today? Just as a wild example. So what you're going to have to remember is open house. The little secret code for open house is real simple. It's OH. Okay? Think about that. OH. So I type in OH. Then I hit a space. Now, if I want to know what's going on today is day 0, okay? Type in 0 and hit enter, and there's all the open houses today. If you want to see the open houses that are on Saturday, just type in Saturday's date, which is the 9th, OH 1/9/2016. When I hit enter, now I see 29 of them. And back to the gentleman's point, if I click on the MLS number, I see the open house view of that particular property. So some shortcuts for you there. You can find all those shortcuts. If you click on the little question mark, it'll remind you and tell you all those little shortcuts that I just explained to you right there. So if you forget, remember the question mark. Sometimes help is closer than you think. Okay?
Question.
So, yes.
We've had tour and broker open house. So when we do this for open house, is this talking broker open houses or is it talking book open houses?
Good question. So when I go through this, you're going to see that it really doesn't designate anything until I get way over on the right-hand side. See the differentiation? And by the way, this last column, as all columns in Matrix, can be sorted. So if you click on the column to sort it, it'll sort it and put all the publics and then all the brokers at the bottom. If you sort again, it puts the brokers on top and the publics on the bottom. So some shortcuts there. Now let's talk about the long way to do that because there's another way to do that. So since we're focusing on search today, we have a search tab to the right of the home tab. And you'll notice that when I hover over the search tab, if I go down to the bottom, there's an open house search too, okay? Now, this is a couple extra clicks. So if I go into the search, go to open house, now if I want to, I can specify right from the get-go if I only want to see broker open houses on a particular day, like today, and run my search, and there they are once again, the same ones that I saw earlier.
I couldn't see what you clicked on to get the open houses.
Right here, search, open house, right here. There's a little, yeah, it's a drop-down menu. Yep.
Okay.
So the reason you might want to go there instead of just doing the shortcut is you can get down into the weeds a little bit more if you're only focusing on single-family home open houses, if you're focusing on a certain area or something or a zip code. Otherwise, if you just type in the short code up here, you can't specify anything more than I want to see all the open houses on a particular day. And then you have to do some sorting. So, I don't know how popular it is here, but if you want to get into the weeds, you got to go the long way. If you just want to get the short way around it, you can use the shortcuts.
What about inputting an open house?
You do it under input.
But will we have access to open house input? We do now, but we don't all generally do our own listing input.
It depends on how it is set up behind the scenes. If your broker allows you to do certain things. Maybe you can't input data, but you can add pictures. Maybe you can't input data, but you can change statuses. Maybe you can't input data and you can't add pictures, but you can add open houses. That will be up to the broker to choose how it's done. So what I'm probably going to safely say is if you can do it now, you'll be able to do it in Matrix. If you can't do it now, you won't be able to do it in Matrix based on how your broker, he or she, has decided what you can do and can't do. So. Yes, we're going to do questions real quick because we're going to run out of time, guys. We'll save for the end. Go ahead.
How does the mobile functionality differ from the regular version?
The mobile functionality is a little bit different. It just gives you a different skin on it. It looks like, and I'm hoping I can get into it without having to log in. Oh, look at this. I have my login already saved. Here's the mobile functionality. So this is what it would look like on a smartphone. Think about this on my iPhone. Notice the little bar where I can type in the number. So if I come in here, 1533444, I can do that on my smartphone. Again, I get a smaller view to look at. If I wanted to do an open house search on my smartphone, I would type 080. And I'm not sure what happened there, but it should work. Now it's really not been hooked up yet, but that would actually do the same thing that you did before or typing in an address. So it's just a little bit, it's a lighter version of the full version. But notice one thing where you're asking me is that if for some reason you're on the mobile version and you need to have the full version, there is a link here that you can click on that will switch this light version to the full version on your smartphone, and then you have full access 100% of the time. Okay, so mobile is just that. It's like any website out there today you go to. If you go to bestbuy.com on your smartphone, you see their mobile site. You go to it on your laptop, you see their desktop site. On the Best Buy site, there is a button on the bottom that says go to full site, and it'll do the same thing. Most websites work exactly the same. I'm going to leave just a couple of minutes at the end for questions. Let me just kind of get through this because we're already 20 minutes into a 45-minute session and we've just touched the surface here. So there's your open house search. There's your office search. There's your agent search. So what do we do here? We look for agents and offices, right? It's a roster search or an office search. Notice because now we're coming together as a commonwealth. If you want to search for an agent that is in CVR or in Chesapeake Bay, you can actually specify that ahead of time before, going in and not choosing anything and getting Smiths in 20 different, areas. So you can do that. And then the same thing with an office search. You can also search for offices. So office and agent search all fall under there. Now, when you start talking about searching for properties, here's where you have your different property types, your single family, your multifamily, your lots and lands, your rentals, commercial, and all. All means all property types at one time. So why would you ever want to use that? Well, instead of doing a search under single family and also doing a search for, let's say, maybe a multifamily property, instead of doing two searches, go to the all search and then pick multiple property types at one time. That way you can kill two birds with one stone, if you will. So instead of just doing single family and looking between single family or condo, detached and attached, here you can get kind of a cross section. Maybe you've got a client looking for single families and they're also looking for potentially a lot to build on. Don't do two searches, do one search and encompass it all. That way, if I say, okay, they're looking in, let's say they're looking in New Kent. I've got 240 matches right now out of CVR site. And notice I've got lots and lands right here. And as as I scroll through, I get my single families. So I get a blend of everything. Otherwise, I would have to do one search here and I'd have to do another search here. All just saves you some time and brings it all together in one search result. That may be beneficial for you. It may be not. Again, it's how you want to use it. But I think it's a pretty beneficial thing. And I thought of this little analogy this week when I was up in Chesapeake Bay area. I was trying to describe the difference between a full search and a quick search, because every one of these property types has got a full search and a quick search, full search and a quick search, full search and a quick search. And here's the analogy I came up with. The quick search is like a tax form. It's like the 1040 easy, okay? There's very few things you have to fill out to be able to put that form in. Whereas the full search is kind of like the 1040A, where there are more things to fill out. So, depending on what you're doing, you may not need to use the full form. The quick form may be all you need. So I would probably start out with that one first, because sometimes if you don't have to do as much work, it's a little easier. So if I do the quick one, you're now going to notice that I do have the ability to switch now between the different entities of the Commonwealth. I can choose both Williamsburg and CVR data together. Or I can say, you know what? I just want Williamsburg data. Or maybe I want Chest Bay and Williamsburg, or whatever. You have to pick at least one, because obviously there's 3 different entities coming in, and if you don't pick anything, it doesn't know what to do. So if I don't pick anything, it's going to be highlighted in yellow, and that is a required field. As soon as I pick one, it then says, oh, okay, now you've met that requirement. So just keep in mind that you can pick and choose what you want. Now, somebody said to me the other day, well, you know what? I'm only going to use Williamsburg. Plain and simple. I'm not going to take advantage of this whole thing. I just want to stay where I stay here. If you check that box for Williamsburg and click on this gear that's in the upper right-hand corner, every time you go and do a search on this quick form, the Williamsburg will always be checked for you, and you don't have to go back and check it and uncheck it every single time. You can go back, of course, at any time and add something or delete something, but if you make it a default, it will always default to Williamsburg, because right now it defaults to CVR. So active statuses are your defaults once again. If you want to choose another status, remember, if you were here in a couple of months ago, Matrix conveniently puts in a date range for you by default. So if I choose sold properties, it's going to go back 180 days or 6 months by default. If that's good with you, do nothing. If it's not, change it. If you want to go back 90 days, 0 is today, 90 is 3 months back. If you want to go back a year, just change that to 365. If you do nothing, these will all default to 180 days unless you make that change. Another required field highlighted in this beautiful mustard yellow color is the property type. You have to tell us a property type. Now, there's 2 ways that you're going to figure out what's required or what's not. A, you're going to see it's yellow. That should be your first clue. B, at the bottom of the screen, it's probably really hard to see past row 2. There is a little box that says matches down here, and there is a question mark in front of it. If I try to get results, I can sit here all day and click, and it's not going to do anything for me. Okay, because I have not answered or met that requirement. So if you try to hit results and nothing's happening and you see the question mark, just realize you're missing something. And as soon as you click there, it's then going to go, oh, okay, now I can give you 4,424 matches. So without the required fields, you see the question mark. And by the way, remember how fast Matrix is? There are now 4,316 matches. If I click results, there are 4,316 matches, just in case you were wondering. And if you were counting, that took 0.2 seconds. So fast is just fast in Matrix. So let me go back again and put some search criteria in here for you. Let me throw in Williamsburg now. Let me go in and throw Williamsburg and CVR in. So now I get the benefit of having a broader search area to look at for a client. I'm going to look for some single family detached homes, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put a price point in of, let's say, I don't know, $250,000 to $350,000. Now remember, when you're putting prices in matrix, it's a little bit different than what you've been used to. Prices, a range is done with a dash. An exact match is done with the exact number you're looking for. And notice there's a check mark with zeros, so you don't have to put all the zeros at the end. If you're putting in a greater than, you use the plus sign. And if you're doing a less than, you use the minus sign. When you walk out of here today and forget all that, remember there's a question mark and it'll tell you everything that I just explained to you. Okay, so it's a little bit different, but once you get it, it's not hard, it's just different, and different is not necessarily always hard.
Where did you see the question mark?
Right to the left here.
Sorry, yes.
No worries. And that question mark contains that little cheat sheet for you that explains all of that information that you see right here. Matrix is very literal. Whatever you tell it to do, it's going to do it. And then my client is also looking for some acreage, and they want to find something with at least 2 acres. So I do that by putting 2 plus, okay? 2 or more acres. And let's say they're maybe looking for, let's say, a colonial. Let's just add one more to the mix here. So now we've got a client who's got between $250 and $350 to spend. They're looking for something with at least 2 acres. They're looking for a single family detached colonial, and they're willing to look in this area, and they're willing to also broaden their horizon in the Richmond area. Now, keep in mind too that if for whatever reason you're looking for a particular search field on this form, remember this is the 1040 easy form. So if you're looking for additional search features that you don't see here, maybe you're going, well, gee, where's that? I don't see it on here. Did somebody forget about that? No, they didn't forget about it. There's just only so much we're going to put on this form to not make it too busy. Because with all the different agents out there now, everybody would have a different way of designing this. So what we do is we provide just a basic template, but we also let you go down below. There's a gray line right here. And if you need to add something to this, you just click add, and then you can pick whatever field or fields you want to add in. Now, I'll tell you, when I was in Chesapeake Bay Area yesterday, guess what they were looking for right off the bat?
Schools.
Water. Every class I said, okay, wait for it. And there's no way to search for waterfront or for waterfront depth. Well, you come down here and you type in the word water. Oh, there's my water frontage. Boom. There's my water depth. Boom. So I add those 2 in there. And then I don't even have to save it. I just go back, and now, ta-da, there they are right there. So now they could simply come down here anytime they wanted to and use those search fields if they were relevant for that search. If they weren't, they just stayed above the gray line. So just like you can do the same thing, if there's something that you want to search for that you don't see on this basic form, just go ahead and add it. Once you add it, it stays there until you remove it. So it's set it, forget it. You don't have to do it over and over and over again. We did find something interesting though yesterday. Look at the water depth. See anything weird there? It's in inches. Somebody caught that yesterday in the last class and went, 0 to 2 inches? I can't even float a John boat in that. So, no, that's just an error of changing from inches to feet. So now we've got how many matches? 19. Okay. So what can we do now? So we've done our search, and now we can go out and continue on. But before I finish this, couple of things real quick. City counties, if you pick a particular city county, it will go ahead and give you the area that is appropriate to it. So if you were coming in and doing, let's say, as an example, New Kent as an example, which I used yesterday. When I go down to New Kent, it provides the areas in New Kent. If I choose Newport News, it provides the areas in there. If I do Norfolk, it provides the areas in there. So all of these kind of relate to each other. So when you click one or 2 of them, it provides the areas to search in that are appropriate there. We call these parent-child relationships. Choose the parent, you get the children that go with it, okay? And if it's a subdivision you're looking for, if you choose a particular area and you go to the subdivision, it'll give you the subdivisions that happen to be in that area also. So again, a couple of little things there for you. So we're back to our 19 matches. We have 2 choices. We can either go right to the map and see where they're located, or we can go right to our results and take a look at them. So I'm at my results, got my 1-line display. If I'm a visual person, I may have want to go to my map and find them on a map. So you can go from criteria, your fill in the blank search, you can go to the visual view, or you can go to the single line view. And there's only 3 things. You're looking at this, or you're looking at this, or you're going back here and you're tweaking this, right? So from my map, you can see where the properties are located. If you hover over any one of these little markers, you see the price, bedroom, and bath count. If you click on a marker, you see more information about the property, and what you see is what you get. You click on the MLS number, you actually go right into the full report, okay? So it's really easy to do.
So added waterfront. How come that didn't?
It didn't pass muster with Richmond. So I don't know. They felt that you could put it down at the bottom yourself if you wanted it, and that was the option. And once you do it, you do the work yourself, and once you do it, it's done. I don't know what the problem.
You didn't choose it, did you?
No, I did not. I did not choose it for this one. I just showed you how you could add it down there if you needed to do it. And then if you needed the selection, you could do it. All Monday and Tuesday, that's all we did, was waterfront, waterfront, waterfront. So real quick, back to my results. We're skipping our time here. Back to our results. We've got our columns right here. This is the agent single line view. You can switch these reports if you want to see the agent, let's say, short report. If you like that view a little bit better, it gives you a little bit less information, you might want to choose that one. If you decide you want to have all the little thumbnail views, all the pictures, there's one that kind of looks like that. You can choose that one if you want to. If you want to see what it looks like from a customer perspective, this is the one that doesn't have any compensation or private remarks on it. It's just kind of the teaser, if you will. So you can flip back and forth between these. If you want to see reports that have photos, you can also go ahead and see those reports at the same time. So it's really up to you what you want to see. And once again, if you're a person that maybe likes this thumbnail view, and that's really kind of all the information you need, you can also set that as a default using that little gear, and every time you run a search, it'll show this view versus the single line view. So you have choices if you want them. Remember, all columns can be sorted. Click on the column header to sort them, lowest to highest, highest to lowest. That's pretty elementary. Notice again, you have some more information over to the right. The last column will tell you where this listing originated from, whether it's Williamsburg or Richmond or Chesapeake Bay. There's your days on market column there and a lot of other relevant information. Once again, if you want to look at a property, you click on the number. You can page your way through the properties just about as fast as you can do that. If you would like to see a particular picture, click on the picture, see the pictures, go through them as you need to. If you want to see all the pictures at one time, click on the bottom and you can see all the pictures, and click on an individual photo as needed. I do encourage you, if you're inputting your listings or you're having someone do that for you, please either yourself or provide captions for the pictures that you're going to be uploading in the future. I just think it's poor business not to caption my pictures. Here's one here that's got a little bit of captioning. There's only one picture. That doesn't tell me pretty much of anything. But, you know, there's an old story. Paint a picture, tell a story, right? There you go. This one just put the images from their camera there. Okay, you know, let's see if I can find anybody. Oh, here we go. Here's somebody that actually got an A. Look at the difference this makes. As an agent looking at this property for one of my buyers, or as a buyer looking at this property, I see the picture, I read about it. I see the picture, I read about it. The picture is painted with that view. The story is told with enjoy the community lake, which is just a short or bike ride away. Hot button, let's go see that one. You know, somebody could just be taking a picture of a lake. Where's that near my house? This house? I have no clue. So This is my pet peeve. This person gets an A. Look at what they've done. They've gone through and they've captioned the pictures. It's, this is great. So also when you're looking at this, you can read all about it. I'm not going to read this verbatim, but this is just a basic listing that you can read. Down below, you've got icons. I'm not going to go through all of these. If you hover over them, they'll tell you what they're going to do. If you click on the map icon, it brings up a map. You can go from the road to the bird's eye views. If available, we have Google Street Views. If there are no Google Street Views available, it'll tell you this that says there is no Street View available for this listing. We also have listing history, which is important. There's two types of history. It's hard to see past the first row. There's two little clocks. One says listing history. This is the history for this MLS number, okay? Only this number. The clock to the right says address history. That's the history of that address if it's been listed under different MLS numbers in the past, okay? So one clock says listing history only for that number. Address is the complete history of the address. The I is going to go away. That's IMAP. Richmond is getting rid of that. That's going to be replaced with Real List. And there's a lot of other icons here. You're going to have to explore them. One of them is supplements, also called attachments. Those supplements are things like your disclosures and your lead paint addendums and things like that. And then one thing that's not visible on this one, and I'm going to see if I can, here's one. The little movie tours, those are the virtual tours that the agent has uploaded for that particular property. So, it's just a matter of going through and just looking at something and think, okay, well, what does this do? What's going to happen if I click on this? What's going to happen if I click on that? And from there, it's just a matter of seeing what happens next. From my long report, I'm going to go right back to my single line display. And now we're going to talk real quick about printing and emailing. So I come up with a couple of properties that I like, 1, 2, 3, let's just say. Once I pick a couple of properties, at the bottom of my screen, I'm going to see this blue bar and it's going to give me some choices. It's going to let me email. It's going to let me print. It's going to let me create a CMA if that's what I was doing and these were my comps. It's going to let me get driving directions to my selected properties. It's going to let me get stats for the selected properties. It's going to let me export this data. And it's also going to let me create a quick CMA if I was in the process of doing an analysis. The two we're going to focus on are right here, print and email. So I picked 3 properties. I want to print them. Pick them, go down to the bottom of the screen, find the button that says print and click on it. Now choose the report you want to print from this list. If you're sending this to a client, you're going to probably either choose the customer short or the customer long report. Short's going to give less information, long is going to give more. Pick the report you want and then choose the output. And the output is A, print. What does that do? Sends it to my printer, gets me a copy, and I can look at it or hand it to my client. Simple as that. Can I preview before I print? Sure. What is it going to look like before I print it? That's what it's going to look like. 1, 2, 3, and there's a print button there. That goes to your printer. You pick the paper out of your printer and you walk out the door. Some of you may want to convert this listing group to a PDF file because you want to send it in your own email program. You want to create an attachment, a little paperclip, that you can send in your Yahoo or your Gmail or your Outlook account. Choose the option that says print to PDF. When you do that, it's going to create a PDF file for these listings, and it's going to then allow you to, 1, print them, which then again, you could pull it out of your printer, hand it to your client, or you could save it as a document, a PDF file, give it whatever name you want to, put it on your desktop or wherever you put things, and then open up your own email program and browse and attach that PDF file. So then your client gets the email from you. They open up the email and there'll be an attachment file, which they'll double click and then they'll see exactly what you see right here. Okay, that's how you do that. That's using your own email program. Or you can also email a link to a PDF file within Matrix. So remember, this one here where it says print to PDF actually generates a physical file that you have to select and attach in your own email. The email PDF does all of that within Matrix. So I'll go in and I'll start choosing the person I want to send this to, put in the subject line, the email, and click send. What happens if you do it this way is they're going to get an email from you that will look something like this, and it will contain a link which will open up a PDF file. So the last option I just talked about creates a link in the report. The second option that I talked about creates an actual file that you have to attach, or the first one just simply prints it out, okay? So those are kind of the three options that you have to work with. Now, can you choose multiple documents to print at one time? Absolutely. So let's say you want an agent long for yourself and a customer short for your customer. Go ahead and pick those if you want to. That's perfectly fine. If you want to throw a map together, no problem. So you can add more than one document at one time. You have to print one, come back, print one, come back, print one, come back. Please take note of one thing. Notice that when I do a customer report, I can use that email link. Remember that email link is what? This right here. But if I choose an agent report, guess what I don't see anymore? Why do I see that? Because MLS rules say you should not be, and we're not going to allow you to send an agent report to anybody, because somebody could accidentally or intentionally email an agent report to a client that contains compensation information, private remarks, all the stuff they shouldn't be seeing in the first place, which keeps you all employed, right? So that is forbidden. Now, if you've got a couple of different things going on in your mind right now, you're probably going, well, okay, let me just circumvent that and create a PDF file and send it on my own. You didn't hear that from me. Could I print that out and hand it to a buyer? Sure, you didn't hear that from me. Can't stop you there, because you're having to do that. As far as just doing it within one click, we don't allow you to do that. And here's some really good justification for that, because some people will fight me on that and go, well, I need to send that to another agent. No, you just give them the MLS number and have them look it up in MLS. Here's why we don't do that. A couple of years ago in Miami, we didn't have this in place, and an agent sent an agent report to a client that had the alarm codes in the private remarks. Guess where that went? Okay, boom, it's gone. Couple of months later, somebody sent it again in the agent remarks field. Do not show between 3 and 5. Child is home alone from school.
Oh no.
You know, so there's too much liability there, so we don't do it. But again, I'm not saying there's not a way around it, but I'm saying we're not going to make it where you can do it in one click. So that's how you print. That's how you make a PDF file and then email it in your own email. Or here's how you create a link in a PDF file to do it. The other option is going to be saved for the class later today. That's using the email option here, and that turns a whole different cycle, and that puts emails inside of the client portal, which is another option that you'll have if you want to go that route. That may not be the best route for all your clients and customers, but it's another option which allows more interactivity. You know, they can go in and add notes and favorites and all this other stuff. If you want to just keep it the old school way, just pick what you want, go to print it out, create a PDF file, use your own email, or just email them a link, and that's probably what they're used to today. They get it from you, they look at it, they read it, they respond back to you in the email, or they just go back and give you a phone call. And then just to close out, the full search gives you the quick search, kind of the 1040 easy form with additional search filters to work with, like schools, like siding, like garages, like parking. Hey, I didn't pick these, okay? This is what's there. But even on the full search, you can always go down and you can add or remove any additional fields that you want to. So every one of these search forms, whether it's the quick form or the full form, you have to work with what's there already. You can't change that, but you always can go down and add anything that's not there to make it work the way that you want it to work from there. So searching is not hard, it's just different. It's fill in the blanks. The only tricks you have to remember are with the price, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footages, those ranges, those dashes, those plus signs and things like that. The other trick to remember is there is a date there, use it or change it. And then of course there are required fields that you have to fill out before you will be allowed to search. It's not anything that you're not used to doing today with searching. It's just done differently. And the only different thing is when you get to the results, there may be some different ways to do things and to look at things. But at the end of the day, when you find something you like, you click print and you print it, you email it, or you create a PDF file and you walk out the door and you're done from there. Plus, you know the shortcuts using the speed bar, MLS number, address, open house search. Are all available from that top form up there. And by the way, whenever you log in, this little news and alert button will pop up. These will be specific to your world. You won't be seeing Richmond stuff. You'll be seeing Williamsburg stuff, as Chesapeake Bay will be seeing Chesapeake Bay stuff. So you're not going to have to muddle through something that has no relevance to you at all. I see it because I guess I see everything. So I don't know. That's the way it works. So we're 2 minutes past our starting time. What I'm going to do now is we've got another class coming up at 10:15. You can do whatever you want to do now. If you want to sit here and hang out, that's fine. If you're happy and you want to leave, this is all you came for, you're gone. If you want to go get something to drink in the back, that's fine. We'll start up again at 10:15. And if you've got any questions for me, just go ahead and answer them. Just let's try to keep them on the search topic here, and then we'll move over from there. So
Areas.
Yeah.
Williamsburg, there's the city of Williamsburg, James City County, parts of York, things that come under a Williamsburg address. How are they handled
Right there.
right here,
/city.
county/city, right here.
For counties that have multiple areas, Jay, is there a map to identify which area is which?
There is not a map per se. I mean, if I go here, you can see if I do this, I've got 22, 32, 34.
Right.
So, I mean, unless there's some kind of a map that is
You don't know what's 32 and what's 40.
Well, ours will look different, Bill. See
No, I'm talking about Henrico or Richmond.
Oh, you're going there.
If you're selling in Richmond.
Yeah, Richmond may have a map that designates those different areas. I don't know. We don't have anything online per se to do that. So that, people there would know where those are. You might have to.
So is there more than one area for Williamsburg, or is it all lumped into one? And does that incorporate James City County and things that have a Williamsburg address? How does that work?
So if I choose Williamsburg, I get 90 matches. So if I let me just look at this and maybe that'll answer your question for you if I pull it up here and take a look. So I did this. Does that look like it covers a broad swath right there?
That's Williamsburg.
That's just Williamsburg?
There's some James City County in that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a Linda question probably, or a Sue question for me.
Along those, your first example of the open house.
Yes.
The OH.
Yes.
And the address search.
Yes.
When we do that, is it gonna give us open houses for Bay Rivers and
Everywhere. And then you'll have to sort it by area just by click on the column header. If you want to go into more detail, then you do the open house search here, and then that lets you get into more detail where you can filter it down. So this was just a quick shortcut to kind of go, okay, I want to see what's going on today. That's what's going on today. If you want to get down into the weeds and figure out a particular area, then you have to actually do a search where you go to open house, choose the broker open house, choose the property type, choose the city county area, and go in from there. So
How about the 3 that came up on your search and you want to save it and connect it to a client, and we've got a listing, collection card or something, whatever it's called now.
So you came up with a couple of properties. You find these 3, okay? You want to save them, click the cart option at the bottom. And then every one of your clients has a cart already created for them. Just pick the person you want to put it in, click add, and you just add it to their cart.
Thank you.
Now, how do you get to that cart afterwards? Good question. So once you put them in a cart on your home page, there's actually a little widget called My Carts that gets created. And I just put 3 in Barry's cart. How do I open them up? Click on his name, and there they are. And then from there, I can look at them, I can email them, I can print them, I can do whatever I want to do with them at that point, because basically I did the search initially, put them in a cart, and now what I came up with is the result of that search put into a cart.
Will our carts that we currently have in Flex migrate over?
No.
So all of those saved searches connected will just go away?
Hey, it's a different database. We can't move stuff over like that. So,
Good to know.
in the back.
Is there an actual map search?
Yeah, is there an actual map search? There is. So if I go and I do a quick search here and I do single families and do detached, right here there's a map search. So if I click on my map search, it's going to bring up all the different properties for me. When you see these clusters on the map, that just means there's too many to display. We only display 500 dots at a time. So to get in there, you just have to click on it, and sooner or later you'll start getting in there. And then you have 3 shapes. You've got a radius, which lets you draw a circle. You've got a square or a rectangle that you can draw. And you also have a polygon, which is a multi-sided shape, which is like putting stakes in the sand. And from there, you can go ahead and import your properties. And then from there, you can go back to your criteria and apply all your filters at that point in time. One thing about the map search, which is kind of nice, is if you need to alter a shape, you can just drag it as you need to. If your circle is not where you want it, you can pick it up and move it. You can also take your polygon and make it into a rubber band if you want to. And the nice thing also is if you want to exclude a shape, you can just simply box out an area and then go to the little box and say exclude, and you can take a chunk out of that square if you want to. So, and then basically what you've got at that point are your search results, which we know how to do with already, right? So we just got to it from a different way. So, all right, one more and then we're going to break because I got to break. So
The link that you send via email.
the link, okay?
Yeah. You choose a couple of properties.
Yep.
Yeah. Does that allow for the client to see pictures, multiple pictures, or is it just text and one picture?
Good question. The question was if I send a link to my client. So let's say I pick a couple of these and I go to print and I email them a link to a PDF file, right? What they're going to get is they're going to get a link, which they're going to click on, and it is a static display.
Yes.
Okay, now how do you resolve that problem? Here's what you do. When you email, you choose the customer short, and you also include a photo gallery, so you package the pictures and the listings together. Okay, so you have to kind of put that little added boost onto there to make that work, and once you do that, you're out the door and it's all good.
Do you have to hold control when
You do. It says right here across the top. To select multiples at once, hold the control key down while you click, or your option key on the Mac. So that means if you're like me who's always drinking something, I have to put it down, hold the control key down while I click, and then when I'm done, I let go. If I make a mistake, I hold the control key down and I click again. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you play tennis all day long, and that's a problem. So. Okay. All right, we'll see y'all in 20 minutes or so. Have a good one. We can open up that door for a second. It's hot here. Woo.